Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Diatonic Dissection, where we crack open music to see what makes it tick. In this video, we'll be looking at the music for Final Boss, which is the music that accompanies you as you fight Dr. Robotnik's ultimate creation, the Death Egg Robot. If you want the sheet music for this video as well as my other ones for free, then head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Diatonic Dissection. There's a link down below to save you trying to spell it out. Let's get started. The tempo is 100 BPM and the key is A minor. There are quite a few more chords for sections A and C compared to previous tracks. The chords in these sections follow roughly the same descending pattern. For section A, the chords are A minor, C augmented over G sharp, G, F sharp diminished, F major 7 and E7. You can see on the diagram, and we'll see in the clip, that the bass note just keeps descending until the final chord where it goes up slightly. Both the main melody and the counterpoint start by playing a minor third, but they're a semitone apart, so it gives us that nice, horrible siren sound. There isn't much else to say about the melody after this point, as it's very straightforward. As I said before, the counterpoint and the main melody start with this siren effect, but it suddenly becomes far more complicated. The counterpoint is made up of arpeggios that make up the chords. It's quite nice to have a simple way to figure out chords rather than having to piece it all together manually. I imagine that you're not keeping notes, as this isn't a real YouTube instructional video, so the arpeggios/chords are A minor, C augmented over G sharp, G, F sharp diminished, F major 7 and E7. Now that we've sorted out the basics of the part, it's time to go into the unnecessary music theory stuff. If this doesn't interest you, then click on the timestamp on screen to get to the clip. No judgment here. This is an experiment with the format, as I realise that I talk about theory stuff but never really go into any detail. If you are still here for it, hi, and thanks for staying to see this. As this is a new format, any feedback/suggestions would be greatly appreciated. The upcoming clip shows how the main melody and counterpoint interact with each other. Green highlights being consonant harmonies, thirds, perfect fourths, fifths and sixths, and red being a dissonant harmony for everything else. The general idea being to have tension/dissonance and resolution/consonant to keep it interesting. The extra melody part for section A is just 3 notes, so nothing to say really. The bass part is the same as the counterpoint, so nothing to add in relation to the theory, but because it's on the bass, it will be a bit more difficult on your hands. As we have established across previous videos, I enjoy doing very strange interpretations of these things, and this might be the weirdest one yet. aside from the creepypasta thing from the Death Exile video, link up in the corner. This interpretation takes the bass and makes it into a Latin jazz thing in 7/8 time. For non-music nerds, 7/8 is 7/8 notes per bar rather than the usual 8, so it gives it a very disjointed kind of stop-start feel. Drums are doing the same thing throughout the entire track. It is a bit awkward as it is a march, but because the snare is doing groups of 3 16th note triplets, it can be a bit difficult to get clean and keep in time. Chords for section B are thankfully more straightforward than the madness of section A. They are just F, G, A minor, and E. The main melody has two parts, the regular melody and a harmony. Outside of that, they're pretty simple. The counterpoint, and by extension the bass part, are very simple. So, again, nothing to say. Okay, let's dive back into the freezing cold waters of music theory. If you just want to get to the performance clip, click on the timestamp on screen. If you want to be a nerd, let's go. One nice little detail is that the first two sets of notes go consonant, dissonant, and then back to consonant, but the final group switches that around, so it gives it even more tension before it resolves. Again, the bass part is the same as the counterpoint, just lower down. The drums are doing the same thing again, so you'll just have an excerpt now rather than the entire section. Chords for section C descend from A minor to F before working their way back up to the A minor for the repeat. You may have noticed noticed in the chords video that the main melody moves in the opposite direction of the chords. In music theory, this is known as a contrary motion. The melody itself is pretty simple, but just be careful of the accidental A flat. For section C, the harmonization moves from the main melody to the counterpoint. The part is slightly awkward rhythmically, as it's essentially playing in groups of 3, with each group being a 16th and an 8th note, so a total value of 3 16th notes. After the rhythmic part, there is a group of notes played in response to the main melody. The bass in section C is almost playing its own melody entirely, ending the phrase with a contrary motion to the main melody. Time for more theory. If you just want the performance, click on the timestamp. If not, let's go. In a slight change to things, I've done the harmonic analysis between the bass and the main melody, as they are closer than the counterpoints. Even though it has what sounds like a moment of dissonance, most of the harmonies in section C are consonant, as you will see. While practicing the theory part of bass and melody, I realised that it has a slightly sad sound to it when played on piano. So, to carry on this idea, I wrote an arrangement for a string quartet to go with it to create some very RPG-esque game over music. The drums are just doing the same thing as they were before, so here's just a short excerpt. It. Another 50 odd seconds of music stretched beyond recognition into goodness knows however much analysis. If you want the sheet music for this video as well as my previous ones for free, then head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Diatonic Dissection. There's a link down below to save you trying to spell it out. Thank you very much for watching if you're still here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!